What's up? Oh, look at this guy. What is that?
It's my suit.
You guys are ridiculous.
I'm doing my best Beetlejuice impersonation.
I've never seen
John,
somebody
you
lean
need the
over
you
their
need the
suit.
tie on the top of the head for the shrunken head. You need the little like ponytail.
Oh yeah, I should have wear like a.
Because the shrunken head guy. Wow, I'm joined by greatness.
Wow.
These
we are joined by
production
greatness.
values. So what's up, Rob? What's up, Stu? It feels like it's been a day.
24 hours, yeah.
Yeah. What up, sidekickers? I feel like it's been a week. But not quite. Some of you guys joined us on the Thursday show. So thank you everybody for tuning in. This is the Sidekick Show. It is available on the audio. Rob's going to tell me not to touch my ear, but don't touch your ear. But yeah, you can get us on the audio. So on your podcast services, Spotify, Instagram, not Instagram, iTunes. You can follow us there, as well as we do upload the So What I Miss audio there as well. So if you want to check us out there, Rob, what are we doing today?
Oh my good gravy, John. We are talking about the 23rd entry into the James Bond franchise. We are talking Skyfall, the third film.
23.
Third film starring our buddy Daniel Craig. I've got the 50th anniversary Blu-ray set here. It's a nice double book set. I mean, if you've never seen this, John, first of all, you got some nice still photography from some of the movies. You got the movies in there. It's quite the set. I would highly recommend picking it up when they reissue it for all 25 movies.
As Bond hits the 50th anniversary, so you're gonna buy the 50th, which is this.
You got to rebuy it.
No, this is a 50th anniversary. It's a 25th movie though, is coming out with No Time to Die. So you're not going to do a 25 movie set. So. It's just inevitable. It's inevitable that it will happen. So yes, That's what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about Skyfall, James Bond.
Yes, that's why Rob is so snazzed up wearing his best prom outfit.
That's right.
Wow. So at the store, we've got our usual new comics coming in every Wednesday. So new comics usually hit every Wednesday, barring any shipping delays or yada yada yada. And we also get other new things throughout the week. The new stuff is posted on our Instagram and Facebook. So if you check that out, you'll see a nice handy list of all the new comics that we are getting every week, and other things get posted there as well. So if you haven't checked that out, please check that out. And I'm going to kick it to Rob for the news, because I'm sure he wants to talk a lot about Skyfall, because that movie was a million years long, but we're going to get to it.
I'm lost of words. We're gonna have to educate you in Tennyson and so much, John. I don't think there's just so much to digest in this movie.
So I'm going to fly through the news pretty quickly. There wasn't a lot. There were some big announcements, though. Last week, Variety announced that there is a Super Mario Brothers animated movie, I guess like a CGI movie, that is being released. That will star Seth Rogen. Chris Pratt is It's a Me, Mario. Keegan Michael Kay is in there. And Taylor. What's that?
Charlie Day is Luigi.
That's right. Anna Taylor-Joy is Princess Peach, and I believe actually Seth Rogen might be playing Bowser, right?
No, Donkey Kong.
Sorry, you're right. Donkey Kong is playing Donkey Kong. Jack Black is Bowser. So that kind of blew up the internet. I think it was Thursday they announced that, right? Thursday or Wednesday. Yeah. So people went kind of ballistic for that. And obviously the inevitable comparisons are like, well, why the hell did we're getting a Sonic 2 before we're getting a Mario 1? But that it is what it is. But that's coming out, and I think, listen, I'm kind of excited for it. It can't be any worse than the John Leguizamo movie from 1992.
That had its moments
with Bob Hoskins. I'm going to fly through some things because I know John really wants to talk about Skyfall. Actually, we talked a little bit in yesterday's podcast about To Doom and the one, the Netflix kind of here's all of here's our bona fides, throwing it on the table, and this is what's coming out in movies and TV productions. The one thing we didn't talk about, because we mentioned some of the trailers, was Sandman. Stu, we kind of had an off-camera chat, but what were your thoughts on the Sandman trailer? Because I have never read Sandman proper, but as a non-reader, I'm very familiar with it. I understand about dream and death and all that. But this looked like a really cool, what was it, a minute and a half teaser. So what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I've been trying to get you guys, I talked about a former podcast, to get you to listen to the audiobook. The great James McAvoy plays the dreamer. John's best friend, Darcy, is Death. So Kat Dennings. So there's the cast of and the audiobook cast is amazing. And I made a comment that if you have an opportunity to buy the trade, the audiobook is very directly common to the book, so you can let the old Teddy Ruxpin open it and have them read for you. It's incredible. The voice acting is great. There has been a lot of changes. We talked about this before about the casting changes. The trailer looked fine. I think inevitably this comic, you can always draw more in a comic than you can in live action. So I'm holding my breath on this one. I know they've already made changes to Constantine because it's going to be
his great-grand
one of our favorite companions, Jenna Coleman, as
Clara
Joanna Constantine. Well, you know, she's a lot of different people, by the way. Spoiler alert, including a teacher and a space executor. But there's a lot of things going on. That's the other news I wanted to ask you about, but I'm sure you're going to mention it momentarily.
I'll make that the last one before we kind of quickly. Actually, you know what I'm going to do before I get into that last bit of information, because I knew that you would be chomping at the bit. We mentioned it last week about, and maybe it was on the, hey, what did I miss? About the executives of the estates of Steve Ditko, Stan Lee, and a bunch of other creators, family members and estates of those creators are suing or have, put forward a demand for the copyrighted, and I'm kind of messing, but the copyrights of the characters that they created while working for Marvel. They've given notice, is the word I was looking for, to Disney/Marvel. In turn, within about 24 hours of that news being broken, apparently these notices were given back in the spring. Disney has filed suit against a number of these estates and creators, suing them for the rights of these characters. Now, this is something that I'm thinking we're going to be talking about for a long time, because it is very interesting when you start to really get into the legalese aspect of it all. I will say, though, that a number of years ago, the Jack Kirby estate had sued Marvel for the rights of all of Jack Kirby's productions. Now, Disney had argued that no, it was a work for hire when Kirby was with us. He didn't own it. Therefore, we have controlling rights. It was appealed. It actually went so far as to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court in the U.S., they only listen to a handful of cases a given year. And yet this is the one that they said that they were going to listen to. And I think it made Marvel very nervous, and they ended up settling with the Kirby estate, because the fact that it went so far as to the Supreme Court, that's a huge risk. It's a litigation risk and gamble that you were going to lose. They settled with the Kirby estate before it got to the Supreme Court. However, the fact that it got to the Supreme Court must be a little bit of wind in these creators' sails into the estates. Do you think Marvel has a big issue on their hands with respect to retaining the licenses of Thor, Spider-Man, what was some of the other ones that they had out?
It was like all the Avengers. It was the entire Avengers
Iron
lineup.
Man, the Avengers, right? Except for everybody except for Captain America on the Avengers, Hawkeye. Do you think we have an issue here? Is Marvel / Disney, do you think they should be scared right now?
They should be not scared whatsoever, because you look at the Supreme Court right now. Guess how many Republicans are there right now, and they're pro-business. You need to look at in America, it's always based on who's sitting at these roles. And if you look at it right now, it's a very business-friendly Republican, run judges. So years ago, maybe when it was more democratic, things could happen. But I'm less concerned now if I was Disney than I would have been years ago when that was the situation, because right now, when they go to the Supreme Court, right now it's all pretty much in favor of Republicans, and they are always about pro-business. So Disney probably will just say, here's money, but we're not that scared anymore as it was 10 years ago when that happened.
Okay.
John?
Yeah, I feel like it's a standard practice though. They're getting sued for something, and they're like, hey, you know what? We're gonna put some pressure on these guys. We're gonna sue back and just get this money, start grinding the gears or whatever. And it's like we got enough money to spare. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm actually surprised that it was making so many headlines, because I feel like it's just gonna get tossed aside or
I think
take so long that no one's gonna pay attention.
Fair, I think some of these states are just like, give us the money that we feel, and then we'll just wash it under the table. There might be some who are like, no, we're going for the great payday. But again, I'm sure their lawyer team will tell them the nature of where we're at in terms of pandemic, in terms of going to court, how difficult it's going to be, as well as when you're going to get this payout. Disney could push them a decade. Some of these families could be like, give me the money now, and I'll just walk away.
Yeah, but let's say for some reason one of these estates gets whatever character, and Marvel's just like, sure, take it. What are they gonna do? They're not gonna produce a movie like.
Well,
okay. So there's a small chance but I'm like, they don't have the money that Marvel Disney does to like.
They could sell it to Universal or anyone they want to be that platform. It's
you know what I'd say to that? I would say good luck, because DC has been more misses than hits, right? So I'd be like, oh, yeah, sure, good luck. Make a Captain America. Who knows?
IP. You don't want to lose, especially like Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I'm just saying. For example, you're just like, oh yeah.
Listen,
sure,
if Steve Ditko's estate was to be able to gain control of Spider-Man, for sure Marvel would be like, listen, what can we do to license it out from you for X number of dollars? I think Jesse had mentioned it earlier in the chat. Didn't this happen to Superman a while ago? It did, and that's why under all Superman books, properties, movies, television shows, it says Superman in being used with permission of the estate of, I think, the Schuster estate. So yeah, these things are happening, and it's happening across the board. So, but I listen, part of me is like, hey, good on these guys probably didn't get the money they should have got, and there's been they haven't received anything since then, Stanley aside, right?
I think Rob Madman said it well. That's what the money's for. We paid you salary. You did what your job is. That's it.
Well, speaking about being paid money for a job, Chris Chibnall is currently the showrunner of Doctor Who. I know Stu is a big Doctor Who fan. There's some people on the chat are Doctor Who fans. Jodie Whittaker was announced that this upcoming season, I believe, is her final season. And then in 2023, there will be 3 specials. There's going to be one, I think, in the spring, in the fall, and then at Christmas, and at which point she will regenerate and the new Doctor will be unveiled. What's interesting is that Chris Chibnall, the showrunner, is also leaving along with Whittaker. Well, guess who's coming back to replace him? That's right, coming back. That's a hint. Russell T Davies. This is the guy who brought Doctor Who back from extinction back in 2005 after a 16-year absence on the air. He's the guy who brought Christopher Eccleston into the lead role for that one season, and then brought David Tennant for the seasons subsequently to that. He is back as showrunner of Doctor Who. John, do you have any skin in this game? Does this mean anything to you? Not at all.
No,
like a Dalek in the wind. You have no clue.
Not a lick. Unfortunately, yeah. Doctor Who is one of those properties that never quite grabbed me. We've sold a lot of the merchandise over the years.
Yeah.
But it's never hooked me. So unfortunately, yeah, it means nothing to me.
Okay, Stu, you were pretty excited about this.
I'm very excited. As you mentioned before, Russell T Davies brought this franchise back from the grave. As much as I loved that one-off movie that they tried to do in BBC, CBC, and like Fox. It was like a Canadian production in Vancouver. And they tried to bring back Doctor Who. It did not go very well.
Eric Roberts is the master. Julia Roberts' brother.
Yes. Yeah, it worked out. He's a bad guy. It works out. But in terms of, my love for the show, that's the reboot for me. Watching it again with Eccleston, and originally Russell T Davies wanted Hugh Grant. That was his pick, but they couldn't figure it out in time, which would have been amazing. Hugh Grant, fun fact, has already been in a non-canonical Doctor Who episode as one of the Doctors as well. So this show goes back a long, long way, and many actors, including many of your favorite Star Wars actors, have been in Doctor Who. So it's a nice cross-pollination. But yeah, I'm a big fan. Russell Davies, his stories in the beginning kind of shaped the series and brought it back into prominence. One would say that it needs to be kind of repurposed again in the last couple of seasons. Been kind of Chris has done a really nice job, but it seems like he's, in my opinion, doing a Russell T Davies light show where he's trying to do a facsimile of Russell T Davies' kind of plot lines and stories and families and whatnot. So it'd be great to have him back. I'm just curious to see who the next Doctor is going to be. So
it'll be John.
That's it.
It'll be John. Hey, fun fact, John, Doctor Who debuted in November, I believe it was November the 22nd, 1963 in the UK. Do you happen to know why that date is significant?
I do not.
Well, it was actually the same day that John F. Kennedy was assassinated, and this show in the UK, everything was preempted for the news, and they did abysmal ratings because obviously people in the UK, their attention was directed towards
it's a big deal, something going on.
Instead. Yeah. So, however, 1963, we are approaching 70 years, I believe, right? In 2 years. So that's a long time property.
Rob,
but 1963 was the debut of that. 1962, John, was the debut of James Bond in cinema with Dr. No.
Oh, Dr. No.
Like that segue.
I have to ask Rob, who do you want as your doctor? Who do you in your dream list? Who could you pick? If you could pick anyone to be Doctor Who would you want?
I
got someone that's outside the box.
Okay. Sure. I don't know who.
Who do you got?
Oh, who do I got? Martin Freeman.
Interesting. Okay, I got you. Tom Hardy.
Oh, okay. Venom himself.
That would be the complete opposite. He loves to wear masks and costumes and be weird. Let's go full in. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, maybe Daniel Craig. He's unemployed after October the 8th. So
it's Doctor's a long, grueling schedule. Maybe Daniel Radcliffe could do it. Probably maybe the Harry Potter could do it.
Rupert Grint, make it him. Make it Ron Weasley himself.
He could finally be Ginger. It's all full circle.
So that's it. That's all I got for the news, John. Do you have anything coming up at the store at all, or are you done?
I think we're good. There's new magic set dropped last week, and check out the new comic releases on the Instagram and the Facebook. So that's it. Are we diving into something new?
Skyfall is where we start.
Why would you use the clip that's not even like the actual hook of the song?
That's not okay. Whatever.
Doesn't matter
because we can't use the song because that's copy. Get like a huge copyright slap. You can't run an Adele song. You can sing it right now. You can do a couple bars of Adele.
I'm good.
Do we want to debate if that's the best James Bond song?
That's a whole other
100%. 100% is the best one.
It's the best one. Rob, do you say you don't say it's the best one? What's the best one?
I have a soft spot for Gladys Knight's License to Kill.
Oh, wrong answer. It's Live and Let Die. How do you stop Live and Let Die?
You know what? That song is never, even though Paul McCartney and Wings, it's still, and Linda McCartney, it's not a, I find that song, even the Guns N' Roses remake in '94 was kind of like it didn't really sit well with me. I wasn't a big fan.
I like that crazy piano part that kicks in. Yeah, it's nuts. Okay, so folks, it's Skyfall. Yeah, Skyfall.
Well, I'll tell you which one it's not. It's not Jack White with Alicia Keys. Yeah.
That's a Quantum Solace, right?
That one's not good either.
The new one is Billie Eilish, right? So
I'll never besmirch Billie Eilish. No, never. I don't want
you don't want the Billie Eilish army after you.
I don't want the heat. And as Rob and I have discussed before, I have to basically leave my house anytime within 30 seconds. I have to just be able to get ready to leave when the heat is on.
That's right.
My life and just go.
Yeah. So get ready, folks. We're talking No Time to Skyfall or whatever this movie is called. Some previews of the categories coming up. Most tolerable scenes. Who didn't Bond kill? Favorite character Bond didn't save, and the wackest thing Bond did. So those are some sneak peeks of categories coming up. But Rob's gonna hit us with all the specs for this movie.
Oh boy! I am super excited for this. I don't know if you can tell. I'm a giddy like a kid in a candy store. So Skyfall, the release date in North America was November the 9th, 2012. We are at like 2 years practically. 10 years since this movie came out. In the UK, it was October the 26th. Yeah, right? It's 9 years since it came out.
Was Spectre in 2015 then?
Spectre was it was not. It was
2012,
2015. Maybe you're right. We'll figure that out for next week. The budget for this movie was between 150 and 200 million. John, you asked me if this was the most expensive Bond movie. It is not. Next week's movie is the most expensive at $300 million. The box office, though, so it cost 150 to 200 million dollars to make. The box office, though, was 1.1 billion dollars.
Billion.
That's right. This is the 23rd, like I said before at the top of the show, it's the 23rd James Bond movie released to coincide with the 50th anniversary of Bond on screen. The first one was Dr. No in 1962, which was released on October the 6th. This movie is directed by Sam Mendes, who you may remember directed American Beauty, which is kind of a bit of a creepy movie when you look back at it. Kevin Spacey and Mina Suvari in a bed full of rose petals, and she's a minor and he's pawning after her. So it's kind of weird.
Very questionable movie. I do think I've seen it.
Yeah, the cinematographer is Roger Deakins. I bring this up because this is one of the most respected and sought after cinematographers in history. He finally won an Oscar in 2018 for Blade Runner 2049. But this guy was involved with Fargo, No Country for Old Men, John's favorite movie about the ska punk band Sid and Nancy, as well as Stu's top 5 movie of Shawshank Redemption.
Sarah's favorite movie, baby.
That's right. I put it in here just for you guys. The movie is written by Neil Purvis and Robert Wade. Most people just refer them as Purvis and Wade. It's their 5th movie that they've written for Bond. At this time, they've written now 7 because they wrote Spectre and No Time to Die. It started with The World Is Not Enough with Brosnan. So they've written every movie since World Is Not Enough. So they'll have 7 Bond movies under their belt by the time this next one comes out. And again, this is the 3rd outing of James Bond, Daniel Craig's version of Ian Fleming's James Bond. So those are the stats for you. I got some fun facts, but we can go over those later.
Yeah. So this is part of the relaunch. Is that actually a reboot or a soft reboot? I don't know what you would define Casino Royale as.
Well, yeah, it was a bit of a retooling of the Bond franchise. That being said, M, as played by Judi Dench in this movie, she was a carryover from the Brosnan era because her first movie as M was in 1995's GoldenEye, the first Brosnan movie. So she went through all the Brosnan flicks and then through these Daniel Craig movies. So she was a carryover as M, but it is a bit of a retooling or relaunch of the origin of Bond. Because when you pick up with him in Dr. No in 62, he's already an established agent. So really, the ideal one could say is that a lot of these, well, at least Casino Royale, obviously it predates Dr. No in the actual books, but that was the idea.
Yeah, so it's kind of semi unclear. You could debate it if this is a completely new continuity or something that is prequel slided in or whatever.
I would say this bunch of movies, especially Skyfall itself, does more homages and tip of the caps to the franchise of Bond than any other movie. If you really pay attention and see the nuances, everything that's in Bond is in this movie. Everything. So if you know if you're a really big Bond head, then this movie is everything because it really does service the past, talks about the future, and does such wonderful writing and just wonderful conversation and dialogue trees between, Bond and Q and M and Mallory and just whole establishment of England itself. So if you really look at it as a character study and as a prestige movie, this is it, man. It's like nothing has ever topped and will top Skyfall itself.
So you don't think No Thanks, I'm Gonna Die Later When I Have Time coming out is gonna top this?
They spent more time and money on this movie because this was a celebration of Bond. Think about what happened when Skyfall came out. The London Olympics came out. Bond did a whole thing about the Olympics. James Bond got the Olympic torch
Yeah, I heard this was like a stunt.
So-
Yeah, with the Queen.
And then this happened. And usually when you watch a Bond movie, he goes to a bunch of exotic locations. Most of this movie's in England or in Scotland. So, like, again, they really went hard to say this is a celebration of Bond, and we're going back to what Bond is. And usually when Bond does these wackadoo movies that I'm sure you'll talk about before, it's like, oh, he's in a volcano, he's in Iceland, he's in California, and here he's in Morocco. It's like these countries and places have nothing to do with anything. They're just this was
Set
a
pieces.
very fit actor storyline, and like even again the London itself was a character, whether it was Parliament, MI6, the subway tunnels underneath Scotland, like driving up the I-9, like I-6, I-9. Like if you are from that area, that's like Scott Pilgrim. Like everything about this is about a love and an homage to being British and James Bond.
So, John, you're not a Bond guy. Like, you've watched a few of them. No, you're on mute, buddy.
His
I'm familiar with the character. I remember my uncles would be watching James Bond. I vaguely remember Timothy Dalton. I remember A Girl Painted Gold. I remember Odd Job, and various tidbits from the Pierce Brosnan run. I do have really good fond memories of GoldenEye, the video game on N64. Me and my buddies jammed that.
Who doesn't?
A million hours. But yeah, this is not my jam. Like if you were like, I think some people, I think me and Stu kind of talked a little bit about it before, there's Superman and like all these kind of superheroes from the culture and things like that. And James Bond is one of those types of characters. But for me, he's kind of never sat in that spot.
Pantheon. But to be fair, Rob or John, what you love about Mission Impossible has really changed what Bond is, because you talk about a soft reboot. The Mission Impossible series pushed Bond to be more as it is now and more of an action film and the Bourne Identity. Like before, it was kind of like a goofy type of movie and enjoyment, but people stopped wanting to see those a few movies ago. Even though Die Another Day made money, people just weren't as interested. As you saw in Skyfall, Skyfall made $1 billion. No Bond movies ever made that much money and had that much critical acclaim. Like this was made to win Oscars. It won an Oscar. But it's made to win Oscars. So it, although it was for best song, nonetheless, it won an Oscar.
It still counts.
Adele, baby, still counts.
Still counts, man. Thanks for Adele for ringing that stat line in for Bond. All right, so do we want to talk about just our overall thoughts on the movie? I feel like you guys. Do you want me to go first with what I thought about this movie?
We need to know so we can dispute you.
Okay, so you guys, chill out a second. Calm down, Bond fans. All right, so I have not seen this movie. I did not see it in the theaters. I did not follow all this hoopla. So I don't remember like
hoopla.
Like I'm wondering what was going on in 2012. I think there's a big period where I wasn't really going to see all the newest movies and stuff. I was just kind of seeing whatever came to me. So I fired this up. I did watch Casino Royale previously and Quantum of Solace. I do own both on Blu-ray for some reason, and I don't remember any of them at all. But you know what? I don't remember a lot of things from movies that weren't cemented into my brain from 80s, 90s. So
you are the Iggy Pop of the Sidekick Show. You don't remember the world that came before you. So
yeah. So yeah. Well, hey, what's up, Comic Guy Craig? It's been a while. So I have seen Lewis asked, have I seen Casino Royale? I did watch Casino Royale. I actually did enjoy it at the time, and I do remember enjoying Quantum of Solace. So I bought these for a reason. But later on, I learned Quantum of Solace is a horrible mess. So I fired this up. I watched it. It's long. It's 2 hours and is it 40 or is it 23 or something like that? It's long.
It's 220 something, I think.
Yeah.
140, 143 minutes. 143 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of the movie sails by, and maybe around the 40-minute mark, then that's when Q shows up, and then you're like, okay, things are going to start getting motoring, and then it starts to turn into I'll pull a David Spade. I liked it the first time when it was called Home Alone. Like there was like this really weird sequence towards the end where he just starts setting up these really weird traps and all that kind of stuff. So I didn't go. I was like, why is this not hitting? Where's the in-depth action and all that kind of stuff? But guys, I fired it up a second time.
What?
Okay. And guess what happened the second time? I'm in, baby. All right, so now, Okay, so I sat back and I watched it, thinking, okay, I think I'm looking at this wrong. I'm looking for action. This is not action. This is a lot of things going on. So Rob mentioned the cinematography and things like that. So now this time I kind of sat a little bit back and I watched. These shots are incredible, and I'm sure you guys are going to go in depth. You know, there's a couple shots of just things burning in the background. The scene where he pulls up to the flying dragon casino, and you're just like. Yeah. Okay, I see what's going on here. Yeah. So and there's just a whole bunch of things. So it turned me around. So and I found out when I was doing research, a lot of people actually experienced this. They're like, I watched this the first time, I didn't like it, and then fired it up a second time. Like, oh man, I really liked it. This is the best Bond movie ever. So I will agree that this is probably the best Bond movie I've seen. So I don't know if I'm looking forward to Spectre next week or not. Because originally I was going to call Rob and go, hey, should we just throw both movies in one and just, get this over with? But I'm glad I fired it up that second time. So I don't know how many movies
I'm very proud of you. I got to tell you.
I don't know how many movies I'm going to be able to enjoy where there is a Tennyson speech going, or it's Tennyson poem being recited, and Daniel Craig or a character running through the scene. And I was like, okay, now I got to appreciate this a lot more. So I'm happy. I want to hear
his inner Tom Cruise, and it's a tight run. It's a tight run.
Yeah. I don't think it quite like I don't see Goy in the chat, so maybe he tuned out because I guess he doesn't like James Bond. I was gonna ask him, does Daniel Craig's run in any shape or form beat Tom Cruise? But I don't think it does. No, but I actually really want to hear how you guys feel about this movie now that I am actually hype on it, and I want to I'm in on the Bond train, so I'm actually very much looking forward to No Time
Rob
to
should
Die.
go first because I did all the talking already. Rob.
Yeah.
So I hated this movie. No, I love this movie. I mean, Comic Book Craig, you and I are gonna have to have a conversation about Quantum of Solace. There's a whole bunch. Listen, we can go into it for eons, and I'm not gonna go. But I'm actually, dude. I gotta say, I am very proud and happy, proud of you, and happy that you went and rewatched it. Did you end up rewatching it after I sent that email, the Entertainment Weekly link about Roger Deakins talking about those scenes? Is that what
article you wrote? No.
Yeah,
I actually when I finished watching it, I was like, I think I'm missing something. Like there were scenes that I enjoyed after the first watch through. I was like, okay, yeah, there's some stuff I really liked, particularly Daniel Craig and what he did. But for some reason, just something about it was like, oh, you know what? I think I gotta run this back. So I ran it back, and I'm happy I did. Yeah.
Sam Mendes, for what he does, he has a gorgeous eye, but a lot of that is laid onto the foundation of what Roger Deakins did. You're right, John. This is a visually stunning movie. This is the first Bond movie to be shot in China. Like that is in China where they shot the casino scene, the shot on the building with the neon lights, and he opens the door, and the other guy, he looks because he's going to take out that dude with the painting, and he looks, and because the glass door is open, it reflects off. You couldn't see Bond behind it. I mean, just it is and remains, because I don't think Spectre is as beautiful looking as Skyfall. It is the most gorgeous looking Bond movie that they ever did. I went to the theater and saw it. I loved it. I wanted to go back and see it again. I never did. As soon as it came out on, I had purchased the 50th anniversary set that I showed before. There was actually a disc in there as a paper disc saying to be replaced with Skyfall. When it came out, I ran to Best Buy or Future Shop or whatever it was, and I grabbed this as soon as it came out on opening day, and I just sat and I just watched it that afternoon, and I watched it again that night. I do understand the arguments that people make about, oh, well, it's just Home Alone. It's just home. I feel like that's a lazy argument, because I feel like that means that they really don't have anything else to critique this fairly against. Stu mentions that if you're a Bond head, there is a lot in there that a nod of the cap to Bond previous, but they didn't do it in such an egregious way. Like they didn't have props from earlier movies stationed behind or anything else. It's things as subtle as Q saying, what, are you looking for an exploding pen? We don't do those things anymore. Like, things like that. We have to understand.
They did put in the DB5 with the ejector scene.
Well, yeah, I know.
Way out of place.
Well, Yes and no. I mean, that was one of the most that was one of the fun. I mean, listen, almost every Bond movie that had even when they had the BMW, they had the ejector seats in it, right? So that's kind of like a staple of Bond movies. If you want to go back, like the one thing that Bond failed to do throughout its previous runs is that it never, like Moneypenny, Q, they all grew with the franchise into old senior citizens while they kept trying to, replace Bond with younger actors. And it kind of does take you out of that element when you realize that, Moneypenny is flirting with James Bond and she's like 80 and he's like in his 30s or 40s. Like it does remove you out of it. You get into the Roger Moore era and people love Roger Moore movies, but they are a lot more comedic and slapsticky in their tone than what Sean Connery's Bond was. You then go into this movie and there are nods to almost every Bond and every tone in which they dealt with. Skyfall is located in Scotland. Sean Connery was Scottish, right? Sean Connery was originally, Sam Mendes wanted him to play Kincaid, the groundskeeper, but decided, you know what, we're not even going to ask him. It's going to be way too confusing for the fans. There's a love of this character and its history that is woven through the fabric of this movie without hitting you across the face with it. And that's the perfect way to celebrate everything about this character. For people who have come on board with this, it could be their first. It's always somebody's first Bond movie. This was going to be somebody's first Bond movie, and they're going to be very proud and happy that they saw it. And it's going to be somebody like mine who have watched it for years and years and years and years and years, and I love it just as equally. So, I mean, we'll get into the specifics of these movies, this movie later on, but that's my thought, that this is one of the best Bond movies ever made.
The best Bond movie ever made.
I was gonna say, is it the best, Stu?
The best Bond movie, hands down, 100% in my opinion. Yeah, everything, like, again, the level of what the villains are has basically improved from every Bond movie since Casino Royale. What people forget about the Daniel Craig is that we have now had 3 Oscar winners play Bond villains, whether it's Javier Bardem, then it was Christoph Waltz, and now Sami Remick. Like, going from Le Chiffre as a very well-renowned already actor that we all know already, and his name is what's his name jumping off the top of my head again?
Mads Mikkelsen.
Mads Mikkelsen. Like, he is great, and since then we've had the level of Bond villains with complexity and duality, especially of this character itself. This is Bond. If you're gonna say it simply, like, this is, if Bond is Batman, this is his Joker. This is the most probably put together villain in terms of a cat and mouse. Even like the simple thing when they're on that train station and he's smiling because he's setting Bond up. Like, I will beat you. I'm smarter than you. And he's goading Bond to follow him on the train, basically the whole sequence.
Yeah.
So it is, again, one of the movies where I can watch back anytime, any place, anywhere. It's like my love for Shawshank. It's playing. I'll just stop and continue watching it. So it is an incredible movie. And even the fact that we make jokes about a few weeks ago, we talked about watching The Gentleman, and we talked about how the tracksuits look fantastic. Let's take a moment and just appreciate James Bond wore a like basic blue tracksuit and just low top Adidas sneakers. It made those look super fly. Like, that is when you're an old man wearing a tracksuit, that's what you should be wearing. Tapered, thin, like, it was a beautiful like tracksuit. He's running around, and meanwhile he's running, there's this full exposition happening about what's going on in the story, effortlessly seamed into this movie, where it didn't seem too overhand. And then all of a sudden, even he's like, Sandman is like, that's probably enough exposition. Bond's like, that's it, we're done. And they just cut the exposition off and they carry on to the next scene and they start again later. So even it's self-referential in terms of, it knows, oh, it's too much, going on. We're gonna cut and then we'll go somewhere else. And just the weaving of story and complexity of characters. And I think this is the most Judi Dench has ever been in a Bond movie. This was really about her, and that's something that we don't see in Bond movies, where like M shows up for a minute, like, here's a dossier, and then you show her everything. Like, oh, Bond, stop doing this. Like, why are you supposed to blow this person up? And then at the end, she sits with Bond and gives a smarty like comment, and then that's it. So this was again to give women like Judi Dench and Moneypenny that opportunity to do a lot of action sequences and be involved in the action was unlike any other Bond movie, right?
Yeah.
Typically, the Bond movie is just the Bond girl, and that's pretty much it. So,
well, he has a history of he's chauvinistic, right? Like in the era of Me Too, most of these 23 movies don't age well, right?
And to be fair, even this one is not even perfect because there's
the shower scene,
and you're like,
yeah,
that was awkward when I first saw that scene pop up.
But even watching episodes of Parks and Recreation now, that's what 6 years old, and there's jokes in that one. I'm like,
yeah,
really, So it's one of those things where the times change. It is what it is. Like when this movie came out, in 2012. 12. It's still different time.
Yeah.
It was
hey, listen,
11, right?
Let me just say, as a fan, I really enjoyed Judi Dench's M. But I gotta say, when the end of this movie, Bond walks in and you're back to that oak panel room with that padded brown leather door with the big thick leather, square with the buttons. I was like, oh my God, we're back to the original M office. Like that shit made me, I was like, oh, I love that. Right. I mean, that's Bernard, whatever his name was from way back in the day. I loved it.
Oh man. Okay, so let's jump to the cast. So I created this tier list. We're gonna talk a little bit about the characters, but we are gonna spice in a little bit. So I'm gonna lean on you guys for helping with Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace. So we've got our traditional tier list here. I don't know if you guys can see it here.
Yeah.
But we've got a bunch of characters from the older movies. I don't know if you guys want to throw those guys up on there first, or you want to start with this movie and start peppering people in.
Just
whatever you want, John. Dealer's choice. Choice.
So let's go straight to all right. Obviously, do we think James Bond? I don't know what that accent is. But
Australian.
No,
is he an S tier like agent character or like? So if you guys aren't familiar, we do this kind of fun shenanigans every once in a while. This is a tier list where we start taking characters from the movies and ranking them all over the place and seeing where they fall against each other. Each tier is representative of how that character, I guess, would do against other characters in the franchise. Obviously,
Carry On. What do you do? S. Carry On. What are you even debating?
Yeah.
All right. So James Bond beats everybody.
Your
okay.
exposition.
All right. So, anyways, we'll jump to Casino Royale. So the main bad guy in Casino Royale was this guy here. I don't remember what his name was.
Le Chiffre.
Yeah.
He's a B.
I believe before this movie came out, he was considered one of the greater Bond villains, right? So I don't know where you would put him here.
Well, yeah. I get, because he doesn't really do anything.
He's not a hand-to-hand guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's a planner. Yes, he can move.
He's a pyramid schemer. Really is what he is.
So the main opening for Bond, and I think going through some funny stuff about it. This guy here, I forgot what his name was. That's Casino Royale. Yeah,
that's the guy. That's the parkour runner.
Malak. Yeah. How good do you think this guy was?
As a guy being chased, good, but
was he not an agent of some kind?
No, he wasn't an agent. No, he was a bad guy.
You're right, John. You got him right.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. And then we'll skip to Quantum of Solace, which I don't remember at all. So this is all you guys. This character I think is Green something.
Yeah, D. No,
he's terrible.
Yeah.
Carry On.
Yeah. And then he had a henchman. This guy Elvis. Is he also down here by default because it's Quantum of Solace?
Yep.
Okay, so now and this guy here, Felix Leiter, I think he had a very small part in Casino Royale. So can he even be ranked?
He should be ranked because typically he picks Bond up from the airport and says, "Here's the dossier you need to know." And when they're in Florida,
he has helped him in the past as well. To be honest with you, I would put him as he's CIA.
He's CIA, and Bond went to his wedding, so that's at least a C. Right. Yeah, right, Rob.
I go with a B. I go with a B, to be honest with you. Felix Leiter's a B.
Yeah,
he's a boss.
Yeah, he's a boss. Got it.
Okay, so. Yeah, sorry. So now we can get into we probably should have done that beforehand, but now we can get into talking characters from this particular movie. So the opening of the movie, we get a pretty elaborate scene that features a lot of our main characters. So it does have Bond in it. It does have this character Patrice. And Naomi Campbell's character, Naomi Harris. Naomi Campbell would make for a very different movie. Naomi Harris as Moneypenny. I don't know this character at all. Is she a big deal?
Moneypenny?
Yeah.
Yeah. She is like the history in like the second or third movie ever. Like she is, she literally is the person that Bond flirts with every time he goes in to see M to get his, as Stu said, his dossier to his next mission. She lets him in. She is
like
the last line of defense before seeing M.
So is she typically not a field agent?
No. So that was the big surprise of this movie, John, was that when you watched it, you're like, who's this person? And you didn't realize when she says, oh, it's Moneypenny. Then that's when everything clicks. You're like, oh,
yeah.
This is what it,
because
traditionally, if you watch all the old Bond movies, probably the ones that your uncles will watch, she's the woman that he flirts with, as Rob would say, at like beginning of the movie, and then you don't see her to the end, and she's like, oh, James, and then
and he throws his hat on the hook. Like M, Moneypenny, Q, those three are the main stalwarts within a Bond movie, right? They're the reoccurring characters. Up until this point, though, for Casino Royale and Quantum, we had, aside from M, we had no other old characters, and in this movie you get the return of Q and of Moneypenny, and that was huge. So but she's not a field agent, she's a assistant. Really.
Well, she did shoot Bond,
right? But she's not. She's janky. You got a janky arm.
Is she? I've seen lots of people rag on her as a terrible field agent, but I don't know, I thought she was cool in the movie, having not known this character at all. So I don't know where you would you put her, like down here with this guy?
I put her as a B.
I would say a B as well. Yeah, listen, she's integral to James Bond.
Again, she's still a field agent. She still has the intelligence. When she's still even when they're in Macau or they were still doing stuff, she was still essential to the doing. So yeah, and she's important in the other movies too. So yeah,
are we happy with her portrayal of this character? I have no access. I have no baggage going on, but I did like her character. I liked we'll go into other scenes later, the shaving scene, all that kind of stuff. Like I thought she did it very well. So let's talk about this guy here. So this guy is the main guy that Daniel Craig gets to go toe to toe with. So the opening scene, and then later on in the building, pretty crazy scene. Patrice, how good do we think he was? He was definitely an agent, right?
Well, he was, and when you say agent, I don't think he was working for any affiliated organization per se, although maybe he was by the next movie. But as a henchman, he was probably one of the better ones. I don't know. I think he's a B. I don't think he's A. I think he just got lucky. I think Moneypenny Shaw, he got lucky with taking the list. So,
yep, agreed.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So he did end up losing to Bond. So then Rob asked me to add M and Q to the list. I don't know if you would even put them on this type of list here.
You would, because Q talked about how he could take down an empire still wearing his pajamas and having a coffee. So I would say he's not an S tier. No.
I say he's an A.
Yeah, I would say he's an A as well.
I would say Q is an A. Yeah, for sure.
I would say Q and M are both A's.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't. I think Gordon was mentioning. Are you talking about Patrice, Gordon?
Yeah, he's talking about Patrice.
Because I feel like this guy's maybe here or something.
He
was very capable. He could ride a bike.
No. He can ride a bike.
Oh
my God.
Can you ride a motorbike, Rob?
There's a vote system, 2 against 1. He's a B. That's it. M goes to A.
I'm gonna put him at the top of the B at least. I feel like he was pretty formidable.
Fine.
Do we think Bond would have beat him if he didn't get shot off the top of the train? Yeah.
Yes.
Where would you put M?
We talked about this. A. Let's come on, hurry this up.
Yeah. All right. And then of course this guy here, Tiago Rodriguez or something.
It's Silva. You're going with his but it's Silva. No. To be honest with you, I think he's a C. I think
you're out of your mind.
The greatest Bond villain is a C?
No, he's not the greatest.
I think he's got to be here.
He's an A.
No way. He's not the greatest Bond villain at all.
He's the best Bond villain.
I think he was actually good. No, I think that's the
speech with the coconuts alone, I think, makes him an S tier.
There is no scene, Rob, in any Bond movie that's better than the rat coconut scene that you can watch 100 times over and over. There's no Bond villain that has such a magnificent.
Do we want to see an animated movie of the rat coconut scenario?
Yeah, it's not even fair, man. And even when that first thing, when he shows up in that room, and that pan shot of, as we talked before, Roger Corman, like all him walking through with all the servers in the background, and he sits down with Bond, and he puts his hand on his thigh, and he's like, and even Bond was like, "What is happening?" Do that level. I don't know if it's written in the script, but Javier Bardem was incredible. Like he got robbed that he wasn't even considered for a nomination for best Academy Award. He was incredible in this movie.
No, don't misunderstand me. I think he was phenomenal.
He took a cyanide capsule and survived it.
Right. So he was phenomenal in this movie. However, I think that they shortchanged him as a villain. I think they made him pretty two-dimensional. And he elevated it with his acting, but I think that he could have been a more formidable villain for a longer period of time. He comes in literally at the halfway mark. He's got a couple of decent scenes.
Well, would you rather him do a keyboard and just type it sound like this?
As Elliot Carver? No, I would not like that.
So, Rob, was it the lack of keyboard skills that you're thinking about? Why he wasn't?
It was the lack of poofy hair from Christopher Walken from A View to a Kill. That's what I was missing in my James Bond villain.
No.
I don't know. I thought he made for a really good villain.
No, I think
he's I think you are also right that we are being biased by his great performance. He really sold this character and like
when you find out, and I don't want to spoil anything for those who haven't watched Spectre, we'll watch it for next week. But when you find out whether or not he was manipulated into doing what he did in this movie, that will change your opinion, I think, and you'll realize that maybe. Just saying.
Okay, we'll see. Okay, well, we're going to revisit this. So now that we've got this established here, folks, thanks for sticking with us. I just wanted to talk about the cast a little bit and incorporate this fun game. Was there anyone in the cast that you guys also want to mention before we move on to some of the...
we'll hit up... as Bill Turner, Saul as a rock. This guy's exposition king comes in, does all the Bond stuff. Like, everyone in this movie is overqualified to be in this movie. They're all Shakespearean British.
You actually didn't add Ralph Fiennes.
Ralph Fiennes, yeah, as Mallory, but it's fine. John will add it for next week. He wasn't really M till next one, anyways.
Do you know that Kevin Spacey was originally rumored to be the villain in this movie?
No, it wasn't the villain.
I read that he was that Mendes had thought of him.
It was the other way. He was going to be Mallory.
Oh, well, good thing they didn't go that route.
Very, very fortunate turn of events.
Yeah, they originally he was going to be Mallory, and then it would have been really weird. Yeah, they didn't want the villain because Javier Bardem was always Sam Mendes because they did Vicky Cristina Barcelona together, and he knows how much. And again, that's a performance of a performance, and they want Spacey to be, Mallory. So that would have been rough.
That would have been, they're going to have to digitally edit him out.
They just got Voldemort instead. It's fine. Voldemort's great. The one that shall not be named.
All right. So let's dive into, you guys wanted, maybe we'll dive into the action, our favorite action scene, and then maybe our favorite non-action scene, and then whatever else you guys want to cover. Sounds good?
Yep.
I got a list of the action scenes that I jotted down that I think would be in contention to be one of your favorite scenes. So if you've got something that maybe doesn't fall in on here, so we definitely have the intro with the motorbikes and the train and the crane. Hey, that all rhymed. That was cool. And then Gord mentioned it earlier at the top when Bond lands in the car and fixes his cufflinks. That was just a great scene. And then we have Bond versus Patrice with the elevator scene and the build the Kinder surprise. Sniper rifle was pretty crazy. The casino with the CGI kimono dragons.
Yeah.
Still a great scene. And then we go to the tunnel chase with Bond chasing chasing
Silva.
him through the tunnel. Yeah, Silva through the tunnels and everything like that, which does lead into the Tennyson speech with Bond running. So that's a great one. And then we have the Home Alone tribute scene, which is all the thing that happened at Skyfall Manor or whatever you want to call it. And then we have, I guess, the conclusion. I don't know how much of the conclusion you would still qualify in there. Maybe the ice fight, but I didn't really like the fall into the water. So I don't know if you guys have a favorite from that or if you have something else from the list. I will say that I really like how Daniel Craig fights. It's very, very visceral, very very, very and very clean like look to it. So when they were fighting, I think Rob mentioned they're like silhouettes fighting in the that, what is that? A skyrise or something like that?
Yeah, it's just a building. Yeah, it's an office building.
Yeah, it just looks like it just looks like he's doing a lot of damage, even though they're going at it for a while. So do you guys have a favorite scene?
That Shang-Chi borrowed the exact same location for its movie.
Yeah,
so.
Is it?
Yeah. So that is my favorite scene, right from the beginning, right where he hops off at the bottom of the elevator, up until he drops the dude and he falls to his death at the in the top of the building. He's sitting there lying and he's like catching his breath, and the woman across the way, who is just, I guess the assumption is, I guess her husband has just had his brains blown away, doesn't seem to be very upset about it. Obviously she's in on it. She looks over and sees him just kind of lounging at the side, right? Happy that he himself has not fallen, because the trick about that is that the way it's shot, you actually don't know where the edge is, right? Like you have no clue how that person was that close to the edge of the entire time.
You see they kind of break the window, but you don't really feel like they're right on the edge until the one character gets flipped over, and then he dies like he has like a Darth Maul like tumble.
Yeah. So that is my favorite by far. Visually, it's stunning. The silhouette fighting. Even the machine that cuts out the glass, like the big 3-inch or 4-inch piece of glass.
I thought something was wrong with my headphones. All I heard was I'm like, what is that? And then it turns off, and then the guy takes the glass. I'm like,
and he's got a coaster.
Damn machine the whole time.
Yeah, now he's got a coaster that he can lay his Coca-Cola on. So I love that scene. Yeah. And then they close the scene with the cool casino chip. Yes.
Obviously, there's a place in his case with his build-a-gun that leads on to the next clue.
That's right.
Anything, Stu, is that one of those your favorite action scenes, or do you got something else?
No, it's mine is the Istanbul whole sequence. That whole thing is incredible. Gordon mentioned it before. It's a classic Bond movie where it starts on foot, then it starts on bikes, then it goes in train, then he jumps in the excavator, then the excavator he turns on, uses that, jumps off. Gordon mentioned before the clip where Bond jumps off and picks his cup link, and then they're trying so much so that Money Penny's like, I don't even know how to describe this. Bond is just Bond pursuit.
I think a lot of people are like, why aren't you doing something more helpful than just watching all this unfold? But how could you? As of note, I did send Rob a text as soon as I'm like, did James Bond just ram his motorbike into the side of this bridge to fall off onto the train? I'm like, he couldn't like do it gracefully or anything like that.
Oh yeah, you mean he couldn't slam his car and catch Letty going over a bridge with one hand? You mean?
But he literally like goes head on into the wall and
just to get
bike in a jackass like stunt.
It's an incredible sequence. It's as I think we've already Lewis said, it's like a Russian doll. Like everything just gets a teeny bit better each time around, and it's such a great beginning of a Bond movie, and it ends where he gets shot and he falls in the water, and boom, Adele comes. Like that is so incredible and the hand pulls him down, and that sequence, like that Bond,
he looked pretty dead. He looked pretty.
And that's the other thing too. Like we talk about Bond songs. Like the other thing is about Bond sequences, the opening credit. That opening credit from Skyfall, I could watch it 100. It's perfect. It's the best opening sequence where you can watch it. The CGI is on point. It's not overdone. It's kind of the right kind of, not over the top.
Well, and it's not the gratuitous silhouettes of the ladies, right? Bond movies are known for their cold opens.
Yeah.
And yet these Craig movies, their cold opens have elevated on from what came before. Like the Casino Royale cold open was amazing with the parkour running and everything else, right? and this is elevated.
Yeah.
Like, this is a phenomenal cold open action sequence.
It is a very Mission Impossible Tom Cruise-esque thing when you're like, oh, you can see Tom Cruise do this too in a Mission Impossible series. It is very well done, and the same thing. It's the music hits it on the tone, and that Adele song, we go back to it. It's like 100-year-old. It sounds like it was probably could be made 100 years ago. It's classy, and it's just a banger. Like,
well, it sounds it's got a bit of a Shirley Bassey sound to it, which she had sang a couple of the like she sang the Golden Eyes song, and I can't remember the other one was from one of the Moore movies, maybe The Man with the Golden Gun. But yeah, I mean, it's a very classic. It's a very classic Bond, which because what came before that is you had Sheryl Crow did Quantum. Sheryl Crow did Quantum, I think, right? Or was that Jack White and
no Quantum was the one that nobody likes, the Alicia Keys
Jack White and Alicia Keys, right?
Quantum was and then Chris Cornell was out, and Madonna was Die Another Day,
right? And sorry, and then Sheryl Crow was before that, I think.
Not enough. Sheryl Crow's Tomorrow Never Dies.
That's right. Yeah.
Tina Turner's Goldeneye was that one.
Yeah.
Last night
we'll have to do it. We'll have to do a song.
Duran. There are ones.
Yeah. I'll actually go with the tunnel sequence because it was very I like the chase. I like when they're getting on the train and he's like, do I get on? Although I will say it's a stretch that Q was the only one manning all the monitors and stuff and just somehow manages to pinpoint, oh yeah, he's over here. So maybe they should have had some other people in the room help him out. But I like, it's like, he's like, oh, get on the train. He's like, and then he's got to run up, jump on the train. And then I think the sequence closes. Well, you get the cool speech. But one of the big the things that closes the sequence is, he throws a train at Bond, right? That's what happens. He blows a hole, and he's like, "Was that meant for me?" He's like, "Ha ha!" Kind of, and then a train comes flying through the hole,
right? Like Universal Studios.
It's like I didn't see anyone on the train, so I don't know if it was like So here, look. Oh, Michelle, what's up, Michelle? She's in for Tomorrow. Crows did Tomorrow Never Dies. I think I don't know if we guys covered it or not, but yeah, I will say that tunnel sequence was really good. But I think top spot. I feel like Rob's choice of that fight, the silhouette fight in that Skyrise, is very James Bondish, I guess.
But even the sequence during the ministerial hearings, right, when Silva breaks in, and they're shooting, like that was chaotic. There was no. He was just shooting people.
Yeah,
it didn't matter who you were. You're a low-level staffer. You're ducking around. You boom, you're dead. Like he didn't. He just wanted to wreak havoc. And then Bond, shooting those fire extinguisher, canisters to create a diversion, right? Yeah.
All right. So action scenes actually plenty. On my first watch, I don't think I recalled that many of them. So it was nice to be able to jot down that many later on. What do you guys feel is your favorite non-action sequence? So this could be either a comedy bit, or it could be a dramatic interaction between two characters, or just something else. It could be the return of the classic DB5. What would you choose?
It's the wordplay between the first time Q and Bond meet in the museum.
That was going to be one of my choices. Yeah,
that's the one where reflecting on the painting and having a conversation about pulling a trigger and like who does what and whatnot. It's a great conversation. It's just two people coming together that don't fully trust each other or believe in each other yet. That relationship needs to build. As Raul mentioned, the next movie they establish a little more of a connection, and each time they do something together, there has to. I liked how Q and Bond didn't like each other right off the bat. It does require a little bit of a building of a relationship, and you see a little more in the second one, where Inspector. So you'll see Q get out of his seat, cool. Which is good.
Yeah, he's got that whole speech of I think you mentioned earlier though. I can do more before my morning coffee than you can, and then he's like, "Then why do you need me?" It's like every once in a while, you need to pull the trigger or something like that. And it's just kind of trigger needs to pull. It's really cool, and I think on my first watch, I did actually really enjoy that scene, and on my second watch, a lot of these interactions between characters really work. The acting, the play together. I don't know if I'm growing out of just pure action. Maybe I'm not. Gord says that Quantum of Solace. I feel like Quantum of Solace had a lot of action in it, but maybe we're wrong.
John, because you watch, that's what you thought you wanted, all action, and then you watch Fast 9, and you're like, never mind, that's not what I want. Yeah. I don't want this pure action. Mistakes were made.
Yeah, Rob, do you have a favorite non-action scene?
Yeah, look, I do really enjoy that scene that we already talked about with Q and Bond. So if I'm going to pick another one, I got it. Like I want to say, the scene with Silva and Bond when he's strapped to the chair. I really like that. But I'm going to go with the scene when he shoots, when he puts the shot glass on the girl's head, because it kind of just gives you, like, you can tell when, in that scene that precedes it, in that long walk down that hallway towards Bond, you can tell that Silva is obviously unhinged. But then it's really confirmed when he's doing that whole when they're talking about being used and this and that, and then the women, women just die for you, and how good are you of a shot? And he tells him, you did not pass. You couldn't pass. You couldn't aim properly, right? We have your records. And he puts the shot glass and he gives him like a blunderbuss, essentially, right? I don't know. That was the old school gun. I just really like the scene. And Bond keeps his composure to the point where when he shoots when the girl dies, and someone says, "What do you think about that?" And he's like, "It's a waste of a good scotch." Like, sorry.
Yeah. I think the first time I saw that screen, I was like, how dare he not save the
you
girl?
messaged me, you're like, I can't believe you didn't save the girl.
Yeah, I'm like, you couldn't have done that 2 seconds earlier. But it actually speaks to this type of character that where the mission above all, like maybe the situation didn't exist, that he thought he could save her at that moment, so he's got to live to the next minute and accomplish his mission. And you'll see it in, I guess, the other movies where he kind of uses this charm and kind of, he's kind of a whore, right?
You saw the subtle nature of his body breaking down, because when he's holding on to that part and he looks up in his shoulder and he basically loses, because that's the shoulder the bullet's on. You know that was going to come into effect, that his body is already not 100%, and he was shaking and all this other stuff. Like this is what happens if PTSD and all this stuff. Like, you're not 100%. They put you in the field. I think, what was the line about mommy did a bad job or something like that? Like, this is the whole thing about Bond being put in a situation he wasn't ready for. And put him in, and someone died because of it. But that's the thing. Like, you could tell through the small little nuances that Bond wasn't completely there. When you watch it again after that scene, everything he does is just a teeny bit off. Even Gore's making fun of that whole scene with the kimono dragon. Bond's not perfect. Like, he's still messing up a lot because something's wrong with his shoulder, something's wrong with his arm. Yeah. So
him kind of like slowly falling apart could definitely be like, even I think there's a scene where he's like swimming and then he gets out after swimming and you can kind of tell he's like, oh, I'm not as good as I used to be.
Well, we've never seen a fallible James Bond. We've never seen a James Bond who's been in pain. Emotional pain we have, but not physical like this. We've never seen somebody like that. It was very new, and it rubbed some people the wrong way, seeing an old, tired, in pain James Bond not operating well, because you're not used to seeing your heroes operate like that.
Yeah, I don't know if I would feel that would call him just old. I would just feel that he is more human. He's not a superhero, or at least he takes damage and has to deal with the repercussions.
At the beginning of this, when we're not recording, like, those other Bonds were old and fat. They didn't do running. They didn't do anything. Like, they weren't action stars. They just wore a nice suit that covered up a lot of the mistakes of their body. And then they kind of drove cars and kind of did a karate chop here and there. And then that's it. You didn't require these actors to do the hand-to-hand combat that Daniel Craig is doing. So,
they would do the on the back of the neck.
That's like that's so like these Bond guys that we watched, and you remember those movies, you're like, oh yeah, like if you think about they shot guns, they're behind walls, they do that, like they don't do what we demand of action stars now. Like back in the day in the 80s, you and I, John, we talked about watch Commando, and all you needed to be to fight Arnold Schwarzenegger was to lift weights and have biceps.
Right.
Then that was the standard. And action hero, like look at Bruce Willis. Like if that movie Die Hard was done now, he wouldn't have had that tank top. It would have been just muscles upon muscles. But he wasn't built like Brad Pitt in Fight Club. Then that became the new standard where everyone has to look at Brad Pitt. That's when you know, even Eric Bana, all these guys joked it. Like when Brad Pitt came out in Fight Club, we were all like, "Oh, damn it, we all have to look like that now." Yeah. Every action hero has to look ripped, and it's now changed to Bond itself. Like could you imagine, you know, all those old Bond movies where any of them took off their shirts? They would look like 3 milk bags stacked on top of each other. It would just been ugly. None of these guys are in shape. We could outrun them all in a race right now. So
we think maybe one of them was a
100%. They're all old.
How come no one picked the scorpion shot scene?
It's stupid, John. First off, if that was
CGI scorpion,
if that was in 2002, it would be all on what website would it have been on back then? Like it would have been like
Smoking Gun.
British guy. Like it would have been
the Smoking Gun. Drudge Report. Or who cares? You know what? We saw that type of shit in Rambo Part 3. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, like it would have been on like College Humor, like British guy fights like scorpion on the internet. It would like, come on, man, that's stupid.
Okay, one scene that did make me laugh is during the tunnel sequence. They kind of jump into the middle of an escalator and they slide down.
Yeah.
And the main villain, he falls on kind of on his face, and he like kind of scrambles up, and then Daniel Craig just flies down. And he just like keeps running.
Yeah,
I cracked up because he like, you know, like when you're like, oh, I can't stop, kind of.
Yeah, you're running too fast. You can't momentum. Yeah.
Yeah, and supposedly he did that stunt is what I saw on IMDb or something like that. So shout outs to him. So those are our favorite action scenes and our favorite non-action scenes. I don't, if anyone else has anything we missed, definitely drop them in the comments. Do you guys want to talk about anything else before we
I have
wrap
a question
up
for both of you?
Yeah, go for it.
Who do you want for your next Bond?
Ooh. I think the Idris Elba argument is over now, right? I think his time has passed. Yeah.
You don't want one Bond. You don't want just to be one Bond.
I'll go with there's I'm just gonna cheat and I'm gonna go with what the internet thinks. If you ever watched this show called The Bodyguard, I forgot what it was, what station it was on. He's a younger guy, and there's a scene that you can watch.
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. There's a scene you can watch on YouTube.
Also in Eternals.
Where someone is attacking the person he's bodyguarding, and he's got to kind of figure out the whole situation, make her safe, and then go after the other guy. And I felt like that was very Bond-like. So people have been suggesting that over the internet. I don't remember what the guy's name is.
Are you talking about the guy who played Robb Stark in Game of Thrones?
That's correct.
Richard Madden?
Richard Madden, also Scottish as well.
Yes. I forgot that the TV show was The Bodyguard. You're right. He
was the British, like if you watch that clip, I've only watched episode 1 of that show and it didn't quite catch me. But I'm gonna have to go back and revisit it, because after you watch that clip, you're like, damn, it could be just a testament to whoever filmed that or put together that scene. But it was a really well done scene.
Rob, I could totally see before I throw out my controversial pick.
I try not to play this game because I always feel like it never works well. My first initial instinct was going to say Kit Harington if I had to pick somebody. Also from Game of Thrones and who will be in the Eternals. You need somebody who's younger. That's the reality. Yeah. They're only putting out these movies once every 4 years, sometimes 5 years. Look at how much. No, fuck. Look, you made me swear tonight, John. That's not funny. Look at how much Daniel Craig has aged since 2005 or whatever. Like,
I fired Casino Royale back up before we started this. He looks hella younger in that.
Yeah, so you need somebody who's young, and I'm just not familiar with the younger British actors right now who are out there. So
I got one, but let me just comment. Craig, you're right. Sean Connery did win Mr. Universe back in the day. I'm not talking about young first and Connery. I'm talking about round 2 when Connery came back to be Bond. That was not.
Diamonds Are Forever. After poor George Lazenby.
Yeah, and then Roger Moore, not the greatest of shape.
Man with the Golden Gun. He was after Man with the Golden Gun. That was it.
Yeah. Again, I'm not body shaming. Like, again, they probably were regular human beings, but not like the Wolverine Hugh Jackman with shirt off and like traps and ripples on muscles and whatnot. But I got a pick that's way out of left field. Rob, John, what do you think of this Bond? I'm gonna say the name. You can let me know. This is way out of left field. I'm waiting for Rob to look at me because I was.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. Emily Blunt.
Too old.
Too old. Too old.
Too
Really?
old. And I'll be honest with you, Barbara Broccoli, who is in control with her stepbrother Michael Wilson of Eon Productions, has come out and said Bond will always be a male.
Okay.
And she just reiterated that position 3 days ago or 2 days ago in an interview. She said that Bond as a character will always be a male. Doesn't mean that you can't have female agents, and I think we're going to see that in this movie.
Yeah.
But James Bond will always be a male. Now, obviously, it could be any potential race. I mean, shit, you could have Henry Golden be James Bond.
What about Daniel Kaluuya?
Yeah, but I feel like again, when you say too old, like once they're in their 40s, like I really feel like it's tough, right? These actors.
Is Henry Cavill too old now? Henry Cavill?
Yeah, probably. He could probably get two if they were to make it over couple movies over 5 years. He'd be fine. Once you hit that 50 mark, I think it's really tough.
And Cavill's too busy with Witcher stuff and with this new pseudo Bond show and all this other stuff. Like Cavill's not going to do it. It would have been 4 or 5 years.
You know what? Dev Patel.
yeah.
Is he from the Green Knight?
Yeah.
Slumdog Millionaire himself. Yeah.
So
Tom Ellis, Gordon. Tom Ellis is also a little too old for this. Aiden Turner from Being Human is a good one too, but again, a little old. Yeah, it's really hard. You might have to pick almost an unknown again to go this direction.
Taron Egerton from The Kingsman.
I think I'm good with that. I don't think I need him in a Bond. Kingsman already went down in lots of flames.
So listen, we're not going to find out. They won't start their search, although I tend to believe they have a short list, I imagine, already in their back pocket, but they've said that they're not going to start looking until after the new year.
They said they want an offer to give Daniel Craig the time and Hobbit circumstance he deserves.
What if he's got one more in him? What if this movie comes out?
He's done. He signed on special for this movie. He was done after 4, so he signed on specifically.
So this movie might be phoned in. I'm a little concerned.
No, not at all. Apparently but because
now that I'm in, I want to see a nice ending.
there's a documentary, I use that term loosely, on Apple TV. I think it just hit Crave. It's Being James Bond, and it's a retrospective of Daniel Craig's time as Bond. It's him, Barbara Broccoli, and Michael Wilson. They're just doing voiceover over scenes from these past 5 movies and talking about it. But you can tell he said, I wanted to give him my all in this movie, and I think based on what we're seeing in the trailers, I think he did. I think obviously this is his last run. This is to put that stamp on the character. So also the first movie to be directed by an American. So and it's
also an Asian Americans. There we go.
Yeah.
So there we go. Let's see what happens.
All right. Well, I think that's it then. Is that all we got for Skyfall? And we're on
talk
to
all day. It's the best Bond movie.
Yeah.
I was just loosely based on 2 novels. You Only Live Twice and Man with the Golden Gun. Actually, they took the stuff from these novels and put it into this movie.
Wait, before we go, Rob and John, what are your favorite Bond movies? You know Skyfall's my number one. What's your favorite Bond movie, John?
It is now this one here, Skyfall. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, what's that on your nose, John? Is that a little bit of shit on your nose?
Rob?
What else are you gonna pick? Oh, I guess you could pick
back to
old school.
Movie.
Yeah, he's gonna go old school.
I think it's really easy to say Casino Royale, but I'm gonna go old school. I'm gonna say, listen, I love On Her Majesty's Secret Service. I love that movie. The only one to star George Lazenby is where Bond gets married and his wife is. I'm not. Spoilers, but it's
long.
40 something years. His wife is killed at the end of the movie, and he's holding her dead body in the beach, right as she's bleeding out. Like on their honeymoon, he's gunned down by Blofeld's minions. Like they end the movie like that. Like it's one of the most heartbreaking moments in a Bond movie. I'm gonna go action. I'm gonna go. People
Whoa,
love
whoa, you don't
Thunder.
go action.
He said one. What do you?
Whoa, 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 whoa,
One
whoa,
for
whoa,
each.
no, that's it. You don't get to choose.
If we're gonna go best suit,
Yeah. Let's pick the best Daniel. Like, we're not cowards. We're not gonna just pick.
I think though people put a lot of weight behind Thunderball, and Thunderball is not. Thunderball is with controversy. That's why they were able to make that other movie starring Sean Connery in the 80s with Kim Basinger, because it's Never Say Never Again. It's not a canon Bond movie. That was done by Sony. And that is,
and Justin Bieber did the song for it, right?
And it's a remake of Thunderball, because the writer of Thunderball was able to secure the rights for that one story. So it goes back to how we talked about the Marvel rights with the characters. So Thunderball is been remade a couple of times.
Is it the best of the Daniel Craig movies so far? Then
which one? Skyfall?
Yeah.
No, Rob likes
Thunderball, dummy.
Well, if you asking, it wouldn't surprise me. I'm gonna go Casino Royale.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong. As a newly minted Bond fan, I think you're wrong.
Agreed, 100%.
But for me, I'm happy either way. It's a toss-up. I love Skyfall, so I'm put my blindfold on. I don't give a shit. You know, it doesn't make a difference.
Again, watching Skyfall and seeing the Cena-esque thing of Scotland, I was like, God damn it, I want to go to Scotland again. So that's it.
Oh, look at that. There you go.
He's too old. Sorry, Gordon.
No, ouch.
True.
It's true. Yeah. I'd be in one of those love scenes. I'd be like, "Ah, my back."
Back-a-lack. Yeah, no. It's he's too old, unfortunately. They only able to get maybe 1-2 movies, but tops. So, yeah.
All right, so that's it. I mean, I first of all want to say thank you to everybody who took the time to rewatch this movie. If you didn't, if not, thanks for pretending you didn't. Commenting, commenting in the chat and being engaged,
faking it till you make it.
Yeah. Big thanks to Stu for showing up today and talking about it, because God knows what you guys don't see offline. Sometimes when we're not recording, even on Sundays, we stay on for an extra 20 minutes. We could go on and talk about Bond movies all day long. That's reality. And John, I'm going to reiterate, man. Big props to you for watching this movie twice. I'm very, very impressed, and I love you one up me on the outfit. So good on you.
This guy told me he was dressing up. So I assume he messaged Stu. Stu's probably going to rock his bow tie or something crazy like that. I'm like, I don't want to be left out.
Wear my Bond-inspired tracksuit, because that's what Bond.
There you go.
My white Adidas. Yeah.
But next week we are talking about movie 24, or the fourth movie in Sam Mendes Returns, and that is Spectre.
Are we going uphill now, or are we going down? Are we going downhill? Really? Oh man, that bad. I'm kind of disappointed, but I'll give it a go.
But I think it's a good movie, but
if you go by Skyfall being the best one, there's no way this is it. So
well, yeah, every mountain has two sides, right? So if you've gone up and hit Skyfall, you only have to wait it back down a little bit, right? I enjoy Spectre. I'm looking forward to rewatching it again. But it does have it does have its faults for sure. So yeah, so that's it. So for those who want to know, Spectre is currently on Crave. You can check it out there, and we'll be back. The Sidekick Show will return as the ending of the James Bond movie. It says James Bond will return. So.
Yeah, with pleasure. Is that what he says?
No, it just says James Bond will return. That's all it says.
All right, whatever. Didn't he say that at the end of the movie? Do you have a favorite quote from the movie? Closes that with
a favorite quote.
I like men are coming to kill us or whatever, and we're gonna kill them first or something. I thought that was pretty funny.
That's the best one, yeah.
When M's dying, and I think she says, one regret I didn't take a crack at it, meaning that she didn't try to have a snog with Bond.
She said that? I don't remember that. Yeah. I think you made that up.
And he's like, well, there's still time. And then she kind of chuckles a little bit as she dies. So yeah.
Oh, okay. No, not bad. All right, cool. Anyway,
Judi Dench love scene.
we could only be so lucky.
Damn right.
She is the best.
All right.
She was 77 or something when she did that movie. So
yeah.
All right, cool. So look forward to next week. We're going to be doing that, like Rob said, Spectre in our anticipation too. When does the new movie come out, Rob? Is
October the 8th.
You bought your tickets already?
Allegedly.
No, it will be. It will be here. It's Thanksgiving weekend, so I'm just trying to figure out what day I'm going to see it on, but I might see it twice that weekend. So get out of here. It is what you said.
With that, yeah. Anyways, before Evil Kermit the Frog returns, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you, Stu, for coming out. Hope to see you next week for some more Bond action, and then maybe one day you guys will run through all 25 movies and see which is
don't tempt me.
Best, worst,
don't tempt us.
Whatever. Hey,
I will do it. Them for being fat. Don't worry about it.
There's another. I found another tier list that just has masterpiece down to shit, and then has all the Bond movies. You could easily just go, hey, this is whatever. But we'll save that for another day and another time. Right. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Peace out to y'all. Evil Kermit out.
Bye, John.